All right, guys, big time win for the Toronto Raptors over the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the Hoopsner post-game show after game one. This was the series in the Eastern Conference that I was excited about. I wanted to see what Philadelphia would look like against Toronto, two teams that have really revamped everything and just went for it. And now it's going. And if you're a Raptors fan, you're excited. Well, let's talk about the Sixers a little bit. This is a little different than the game one against Brooklyn. I was interested to see how Brooklyn would do against the Sixers in that series. And obviously, if you watch that series, you know that Brooklyn won game one. A lot of it was like a bad game from Simmons and just a great game from the three best players in Brooklyn. Tonight, it felt like the Sixers actually played well, but a lot of getting out-coached. And some of the weaknesses and flaws of the Sixers just really showed up this game. The flaws of their best players just kind of showed up. I felt like in the first half, Tobias Harris played well, and the second half obviously did not have a good half. And some of that I think is just I don't know quite what the identity is of the Sixers on offense. Is it a throw it down to Embiid and then find the open shooter after the double team comes, and if the double team doesn't come, Embiid just scores? Is it just kind of a try to create penetration with Ben Simmons and then kick out to shooters and try to get open shots that way? A lot of what I saw in the second half was a lot of Tobias Harris ISO and Tobias Harris taking tough shots, and Tobias Harris, it was just a lot of Tobias Harris doing things that he's okay at but not great, and Toronto taking advantage. I felt like, honestly, Toronto just outcoached the Sixers in the second half. And by the way, why is Nick Nurse not getting Coach of the Year talk? Because, we talk a lot about the Milwaukee Bucks and what they're doing. Nick Nurse has taken in a situation that could have been super volatile. Like, that locker room could have gone one or two ways, and it's gone one way, and it's victory for the Raptors. And they played incredible tonight. Their game plan was on point. It was great. And the Sixers just looked like they were so chaotic at times. Like, sometimes you see those, like, Simmons actually had a really nice game tonight. Simmons, for Simmons, that is. Simmons tonight, 14 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. He was only a -7 in a big loss for the Sixers. So that's pretty good for if you're a Sixers fan to see that. But Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, who I felt like are probably their most important players in terms of creating their own shots, being able to stretch the floor, shoot the ball, do all these things. They just did not get anything going. Jimmy Butler tonight, 10 points. And so some of that's coaching. And then some of that, you just got to give credit to the Raptors, who looked incredible. There were 3 players that really stood out. One, Marc Gasol, that pickup's looking really good. And it's looking really good because of this series. He took it to Embiid. And normally Embiid does that thing where he just backs everyone down. He's just the biggest, strongest guy in the NBA with touch and skill and all those things, and that's why he's so good. He can't do it against Gasol. Gasol is a cinder block to him. He can't move him. He hits shots. Like, Gasol hit a couple threes tonight, stretched the floor. When Gasol was on the floor, like, his plus minus has to be great. Just looking at it now, it's not surprising. Marc Gasol, best plus minus of the entire Toronto Raptors, plus 29, and it was very obvious. Like, when he was on the floor, he just neutralized Embiid, and it feels like when the offense runs through Embiid, at least in the half court for the Sixers, that's when things go really well. And Gasol just destroyed that. Embiid could do nothing with him on the floor. That's a bad sign for Philadelphia. They've got to figure out what they can do, because if Gasol can just dictate Embiid, who is their best player, and just stretch him out on. So here's the thing. Embiid could not move him when he was defending him in the post. And on the other side of the floor, Gasol was stretching him out. And so what makes the two things that Embiid's so great at, Gasol just neutralized it. So he couldn't score in the post on the one end, and he couldn't protect the rim on the other. So players like the other two players I want to talk about, Siakam and Kawhi, I mean, they just feasted, absolutely feasted. And a lot of it was with Gasol on the floor. Ibaka had a nice night too. Man, if Gasol's able to do that, the Sixers are in trouble because, some of the 3-point shooting is not going to be replicated because it was incredible tonight. So Pascal Siakam, who just looked amazing tonight, but he was 3 for 4 from 3. He's probably not going to shoot 75% from 3 the whole season, but he shot 12 for 15 from the field. So he only missed 2 shots from 2-point range. That's sustainable, and so much of that was just like that off the glass thing. Pascal Siakam, I mean, I have not watched enough of him, and Raptors fans, I love you. I predicted you'd be the number 1 seed, and I predicted you'd go to the finals. You're making me look good. Thank you, Toronto. Thank you for making me look good. I like to be smart, and you guys are making me look smart, and I love it. And I love that you got Marc Gasol. He's making you look really good. But Pascal Siakam, I just hurt my hand. Guys, when you get married and you hit your hand, ouch. But Pascal Siakam, his exponential growth is unbelievable. Sometimes that's the difference between like great team and championship team, is that one guy that you just, he had a lot of potential and, upside and length, and, that a guy that has like length and speed and all the upside. When you have a guy that actually does that upside thing, like Siakam is doing right now, that's when your team goes to championship, because you have Kyle Lowry, and they went in there. I have to talk about Danny Green too, but they got Kyle Lowry. They made the trade for Kawhi to just go for it, and now it's looking really good because Kawhi looked incredible. But Pascal Siakam, is that guy that you get later in the first round that it just pans out and things look great. And I'm excited for the Raptors. They don't even have OG Anunoby right now. I don't know when he's coming back, but when he does. But it's so nice to see Pascal Siakam, who runs the floor like crazy. He creates transition offense, which is a big deal. When you can get those easy buckets in transition, that's big. But when he's hitting corner threes, he's posting up, he's like finishing at the rim on pick and rolls and cutting to the rim and things. He just was a monster tonight, and he's so long, and he has just such a big motor that he's a good defender. He's just a perfect modern day stretch four. He's perfect. And I'm happy for Toronto that they got that guy. And then OG Anunoby, he's going to be like a luxury. That's amazing. And then finally, you got to talk about Kawhi, who was absolutely destructive. He looked like, it reminded me of like one of those mech video games where it's just like this machine of destruction. And tonight it's like they loaded him up with all his missiles, and he just was blowing up everyone and just hitting shots. He's so just mechanical in his destruction of the other team. He's just a serial killer. He just like has no remorse for who he knocks out and kills. And he just does it so coldly without emotion, and he just kills you. And he watches you die, and he doesn't even react. He's just like, "Oh, I guess you're dead now, and I just beat you." That's what Kawhi Leonard is. He's incredible. He's unstoppable tonight. And then tonight, when you don't have Embiid at the rim to stop him because of Marc Gasol being on the perimeter and Ibaka on the perimeter, he's just going to destroy you. The Sixers had no one to stop him. They had no one. They threw everyone they had at him. He scored on all of them. He's unbelievable. And you've got to give Toronto credit. They have just the perfect team makeup. There is just so many different weapons they have. They can throw Gasol at Embiid, and that's how they're going to dominate this series. Or they can put out Ibaka if they, if Ibaka's hitting shots, put him out there. If Gasol's having a tough shooting night, but Gasol's just so smart. He's such a good defender, and he's a good passer. It's going to be tough for the Sixers to win this series because the Raptors are just like, they are locked in. And the Sixers have some flaws, and the Raptors are taking care of it. It's, there's always a chance for adjustments and maybe some big games for the Sixers. But after tonight, it's tough to see it going because the Sixers looked like they played their game, played pretty well, and lost by almost 20 points. So big time win for the Toronto Raptors. I'm excited for game 2. This series is going to be a lot of fun. We'll see if the Sixers can turn it around and bring it back and figure something out. But right now it's looking pretty good for Toronto. Guys, like and subscribe this video and to the Hoops Nerd channel. I'm Hanson James on Twitter if you want to follow me there. I will talk to you later.